y'all. How y'all doing? I hope everything is well. I hope everything is going well. And if it's not, it's going to get better. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make a healthy, unique hair care regimen for your locks. This would apply to for loose natural hair, except for you it's obviously going to be probably a little bit more steps because you guys have to detangle and things like that. So just keep that in mind. But without further ado, I'm going to get into it. So the first thing is, I know that people give you a lot of advice or tips or suggestions or whichever way you want to spin it to tell you that you have to do certain things a certain way for your hair to grow successfully. But you have to take into account that your hair is different from the person that you're talking to, even if your hair looks the same. So really, you need to build a relationship with your hair. I'm not going to say learn your hair because that can be confusing. Build a relationship with your hair. A lot of it is going to be you figuring out the key is to figure out what helps keep your hair moisturized. That is the number one thing you want to be looking at when creating a regimen. Why do you want to look at that? Because moisture is the key to growing your hair out. It's the key to keeping your hair healthy, and it is the key to not having your hair be dry. So what's going to keep your hair moisturized? A person on the screen, I can't tell you what's going to keep your hair moisturized. Another person can't unless they're doing your hair. So finding something that's going to keep your hair moisturized, but also don't feel like you have to do things, which goes back to my first point, the same way someone else is doing it. The other thing is, you want to keep in mind how often you should be washing your hair. If you feel like your scalp gets red or it hurts to the touch or it gets very itchy and flaky, then you would be a good candidate for someone who could wash their hair a little more often. If I'm not mistaken, if I didn't make a full video, I have a full short explaining that. But if you have like seborrheic dermatitis, if you have any scalp conditions, if your hair is feeling dry or redness or things like that, or if you're like myself, I have eczema. Like my eczema flare-ups are bad. I had a flare-up on my wrist, so I just have to make sure I'm really doing moisturizer right now because of the weather changes. If you're somebody that gets scalp eczema, any of that type of stuff, then you would be a good candidate to wash your hair more often. So figuring out your wash schedule is going to be based on that, when your hair needs to be washed. So everybody's wash day routine is going to look different. How often they need to wash is going to look different. I wash my hair more often, and you see my locks flourishing, but that works for my hair because I know when my scalp starts getting really itchy, if it starts getting sore to the touch, and things like that, then I know it's time for me to wash it. So there's that. The other thing is, you also want to keep in mind with your locks, what exactly are you going to be doing for styling purposes? I tell y'all, and I have a video about, the tight styles, like negating a lot of those, but styling. What exactly is that going to look like for you? Is that going to be some days you wear your hair down and then you do a style? Like, what is that going to look like for you? It's really, styles are endless when you have locks. So keep that in mind. Like, what's that going to look like for you? You know what I mean? Like, that's what that's going to be. How often are you going to be styling? Are you always going to get a style when you go get your maintenance done, or do you want your hair down and just maintenance done? What is that going to look like for you? Because with locks, it's lower maintenance than if you were a loose natural, but we don't want to be doing super tight styles because that's what causes the thinning and breakage with locks versus when you got loose natural hair. There's a wide array of things that can occur that will cause, breakage and thinning. The other thing with your regimen is, at nighttime, obviously making sure you're wrapping your hair up with something satin or silk, so that it doesn't dry out your locks. So keep that in mind. And then also just with moisturizing your hair, like how often does that look like for you and what does that look like for you? Because I have a video I talked about, some people's hair will get dry within a few days and they pack more product on. Me, I just go ahead and then wash my hair because my hair for it to get everything it needs to be clean. So, making sure that I'm keeping my hair clean so it can get an ample amount of moisture from whatever I'm using. And, water is like the greatest moisturizer for locks. Most people will be like, well, they don't need to be sprayed every day. For you, it may not need to be like that. But for some people like myself, like, it really just depends. It depends on the weather. It depends on how the air is. It depends on all of that. So keep that in mind. Another thing is, like, for me, I haven't oiled my scalp since like probably the second month my hair has been locked. The natural sebum has been able to come down easier, and I don't need to do additional oils on the scalp because, my hair is locked. So I'm always assisting the sebum and oils down. And then this is just for hair. We're talking about, stress. Like, are you dealing with someone that stresses you out, whether it be family, friends, relationships, whatever? If you're under a lot of stress, that can stunt your hair's growth. Stress can make your hair fall out. So keep that in mind, keeping the stress down, because that's a part of that too. And then also not trying to make your routine similar or the same as someone else's. Like, jazz that up so it fits to your hair. You're going to build a relationship with your hair. Once you experiment with, what works, oils and tonics and things like that, what's keeping your hair moisturized and things like that, you will be all set and good to go for your healthy hair care regimen. And that is how you build one. Pay attention, of course, to the ends of your locks and the integrity of your locks. Make sure that your hair is not thinning to the point that your locks are coming apart. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about that. That's what I've been doing. That's how I created a very healthy hair care routine when I was switching from being a loose natural to locked. And with locks, it's a lot less for me to do, which I thank God for that, because detangling used to be a nightmare. I don't care what techniques they say are the fastest. Detangling is a nightmare, especially if you have loose natural hair. Like, it's time consuming no matter which way you spin it. So that's pretty much it. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.